Hello, I'm Terry David Mulligan. This is Mulligan Stew, the podcast, music, film, food, and wine. This week it's music, but I will give you a heads up. We are working on some film stories as well. Is there anything that we don't know about Melissa Etheridge? Well, first off, it's her birthday in a couple of days, May the 29th. And then a couple of days after that, she's going to celebrate her marriage, May the 31st, to Linda Wallem. Many of us discovered her with her self-titled debut album in 1986. The single you might remember was Bring Me Some Water. She still does it. She's going to talk about it, actually. The breakthrough came with her album, Yes, I Am. It spent almost 140 weeks on the Billboard chart, 6 times platinum. I'm trying to keep in mind that there's an entire new generation out there. And for them, Melissa Etheridge is just a name. They don't know the background. However, 15 years ago, Melissa Etheridge was diagnosed with breast cancer. She has been battling and winning the war on cancer. The first question I'm going to ask her is about her health because she has been 15 years cancer-free. And I believe she would celebrate that every day. I certainly would. I think we all would. One of the things we're going to talk about is medical marijuana because she has a dispensary to make cannabis-infused wine. I was terribly interested in that. But more importantly, we're here to talk about her latest album. It's called The Medicine Show and all that implies. The last time you and I had a conversation was 25 years ago backstage at Woodstock 2. And when you walked in, you were swamped by the media who were looking for interviews and stories. And your manager at the time grabbed me by the elbow and said, Melissa would like to talk to you over there in that tent. And I said, why? Why me? He said, because when you were the first one to greet us in Canada, in Vancouver, you played the music, we did the first interview, and that was the last time you and I talked.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm glad I got to talk to you then, and I'm glad I'm talking to you now. I do remember you.
How's your health?
Oh, 15 years cancer-free, feeling great. Really good.
Is it possible, well, I'm sure you've been asked this, but is it possible to put into words how that changed you and how it changed your music?
Well, I do my best to do it because it really did. It was a huge change in my life. There was before cancer and after, and it changed how I absolutely think about my life and how what my priorities are and goals. It absolutely put health as my number one priority, and everything goes behind that. So yeah, it was massive change and a welcome change. I'm grateful for it.
How did it change the way you approach well, for example, I think you and I both believe that music can heal. It has the power to heal. Did it help you in your battle and in your 15 years? And secondly, how did it change those tunes of yours?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at the album, let's see, Lucky was the album I put out right before cancer. Mm-hmm. And then my next one was The Awakening, which is 2 very, very different albums. And the music definitely, the music that I wrote, the music that you will hear in every project since my diagnosis, you will hear a sense of spirit, a sense of joy and hopefulness that just has to be there, that is in my life now. You will hear that in all my music. My music comes from my personal experiences. So, this personal experience just permeates every single piece of music I make now.
Is it fair to, I have so many questions. Where did I know where the songs take us, the audience. We know that. We recognize that. Where did the songs take you? And I'm thinking not so much in the studio, I'm thinking in the live performance. Where do you go?
Yeah, that's because in the studio it's about conveying a certain one-time performance, and then taking those songs and going on stage. And I mean, I'm on tour right now. I'm somewhere in Pennsylvania, and it's that moment. I'm on stage, a song. I mean, I can do, Bring Me Some Water. That was 30 years ago, 31 years ago, and I'm definitely not there anymore. But the song, the music, the experience of clicking into people in an audience that this song means something to them. They either it meant something to them or they remember what it was like, and they come back to that feeling. They're celebrating something. They're they just found it. It's the experience of exchanging that energy with the audience in the moment that makes these songs, that makes some songs live on and on and on. And then when I perform the new songs, it's the experience of, okay, this is the first time you're going to hear this from me. And what's this experience? And hopefully in 20 years you go, I remember the first time I heard that, and I'm living, of course, the new songs I'm living closer to. So they definitely vibrate with a more immediate feeling.
Because we are in Canada, medicinal marijuana are legal. It's taken you on a journey there. You've started Etheridge Farms. What's the conditions now for you down in the States and actually with medicinal marijuana?
Yeah, well, it's unfortunately the last administration, the administration who's in office right now, really put the hard brakes on where cannabis was going in America.
Yep.
And your wonderful country just took the lead, and now there's still lots of, issues to confront and get better at, but you are moving ahead, and it's such a shame that America, who prides itself on being all big business, it really is being outdone by you guys on this. And Etheridge Farms, I'm in California, which is a state that's recreational and medicinal. The leaders there really see how important it is, not only for our own infrastructure and taxes and stuff like that, but really helping its citizens and the health aspects of this. It's a long process to make sure that the ground that we're walking on, that the business that I'm building is legal foundationally from the ground up. And that just takes time, and that's where I am right now.
You wrote these tunes, maybe started thinking about and gathering bits and pieces in 2016. 2017, you're in the studio, and I'm kind of wondering what was going on socially in America showed itself in these tunes.
Oh, well, that's what this whole album is about. That it's about how the choices that were then made by some people, abusing power, really sent a lot of people into more of a social movement than maybe they would have, from power, from sexual assault to our own rights, and knowing that what this administration, what has come into power was done so through fear and divisiveness and dividing our country. One can see right through that with just a little looking, can see that that's how it is. And I think that's very last century. That's very, coming to power, having other people believe that their problems are all someone else's fault. You can lead a good amount of people that way, but that's going to all come crumbling down, because that's not what moves us forward nowadays. That's not what makes us leading communities. And boy, Canada sure. Again, you've got your problems, and we always will, but you certainly are ahead of us in that.
Human Chain. Can you tell us about Human Chain, people helping?
Like I said, the last couple of years was very dark. There was a lot of bad news all the time. And I stumbled upon a little piece of good news, and I thought, now this is who we are. And it's, it was just a story of a man who was at a beach, and he was out in the water, and a riptide got him, and he was drowning, and people on the beach came together and hand in hand and formed a human chain and pulled the guy in, and that's just who we are. That's what we would do. That happens more than you know, and it's just something that's going to overcome all of this divisiveness, is understanding how we can all come together.
Thank you for that. In listening to the Medicine Show the first time, I was swept up by what I felt was you meaning to heal, to add hope to lives, to to give some strength. And I think I wrote introspection. I think you're hoping that all of us will think about the things that you're singing about. And then when you sing them, you know that we're going to think about it.
Oh, yeah. I hope so. Yeah, that's exactly it. And, my job as a musician is to be a mirror, is to go inside hearts and minds and light up and inspire and put a person in spirit, and give hope and make a person feel better, because when people feel better, a good feeling then persists and comes out in the world. So that it's just medicine.
When, the music business has always been surrounded by the darkness of drugs. And so it doesn't come as a surprise to either one of us about opioid addiction in this day and age. Here Comes the Pain deals with that. But also, I'm wondering, because of what you had to go through in terms of beating back cancer, did it make you more understanding of what people were going through out there?
Oh yeah. It was I was prescribed some massively powerful opioids, and I was like, no, thank you. I see easily they are gotten, and then how can fall into a great chasm of hopelessness, with it. And it's beyond just the drugs and a person's weak. It goes to the core of sort of this hopeless feeling in our world that we can all address through community. And I see great change. I see changes happening all around me all the time.
Well, one of them is, your line in Faded by Design, don't call the doctor, caught my ear right, because I'm surrounded by people who believe that same thing.
Yeah, it's really, modern medicine, man, if my foot gets chopped off, take me to a doctor. He's going to maybe sew it back on. Great. That, surgery, great. The emergency medicine, we have come so far, and miracles like that. But when it comes to degenerative diseases and my body, I believe that our bodies are so beautifully designed, and that we have immune systems that are beyond even what we understand. And I want to strengthen that part of me so that I can be healthy, not just fix whatever symptom might be happening, but understanding what's at the core. And I think that change in our paradigm of health, that's what's coming. That's the new health paradigm.
Melissa Etheridge on Mulligan Stew podcast. Melissa, we all remember where we were when the tragedy at Parkland took place. You write about it in Last Hello. It causes pause. You take us back there. What did you mean to say to all of us and to yourself?
Well, I was in the studio when the news came about that the next day. And it just destroys me. I have children, and the sadness to think that this happens a lot. And I started looking around, and I didn't want to write a song just about what happened. I wanted to contribute somehow, and I started looking around. I saw a little fact that there was 150,000 survivors of school shootings. Survivors. These are people whose lives have been like totally, disrupted. And I said, this is who I want to speak to. This is who I want to write to. This is who I want to give voice to. And I just took a moment of putting myself into a survivor's moment. And then, watching the Parkland kids, Emma and Emma Gonzalez and David Hogg and all of them speak. It was they really inspired me to go from that point of view.
Okay. It's time for a speed round. I'm watching my clock here. Melissa Etheridge on the phone. Yes, I am. Let me take you back there for a second. 1993. I don't know which came first. You at the Triangle Ball announcing that you were a lesbian or the album or the Yes I Am came first. But here's what I learned about you in your writing. Do not presume that because the song says Yes I Am, that that's what it's saying. You have to listen harder to your tunes and look and feel it and understand what it is that you're trying to say. And sometimes I never figure it out. And it taught me a lesson. Don't take it at face value. There's more in there than just the words.
Well, I do. I try to write in layers. I try to write for the casual listener that can, oh, that's just a song about blah, and very easy. And then to those who want to dig deeper and really get a meaning, there's some always there. You can always dig deeper into them.
But you write for everyone, right?
I hope so.
I mean, everybody.
I think we all have a very common human experience, especially in relations and emotions, and so I try to write from there and not limit that.
How's the production for Mystic Pizza? You're writing music for the stage play.
I am in the writing period.
Whoa.
So I'm just writing, and it'll take a while. Those things take a while, but I'm really excited about it.
It's a different exercise too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I have to. You're really somebody else's another character. It's fun. It's great. It's a relief.
Okay, you have a birthday coming up, May 29. Congratulations.
Whee!
And you're celebrating your marriage May 31st.
Yes. My wife and I actually have our birthdays are actually the same day. Mm. A little crazy, but we were born absolutely the same day. We're like 4 hours apart. And so we celebrate our birthday on the 29th and then our wedding anniversary on 31st. We thought, so it's kind of we celebrate all month long, basically.
How much does love or not being in love change your writing?
Ooh, well, it changes me as a person.
Yep.
I think I'm better when I'm in love, and this is such a healthy love that I think this is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. So, that sort of relationship is priceless, and it you're not going to hear another "I'm the only one" or "Like the Way I Do," just because that's not where I am. Thank goodness that's not the issue in front of me. I've definitely moved on. I'll sing it. You can come listen to it live. But I'm not going to write anymore.
I host and produce a wine show called Tasting Room Radio, and I'm really interested in your cannabis-infused wines. I understand there's a Shiraz, a Grenache, and did you get a Cab bottled?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we're in a funny limbo right now in California, because when the new laws and regulations, and they come all the time, the last one that came down said that we could not combine alcohol and this is just in California,
exactly.
Alcohol and cannabis. So it's been put on hold for a second, but there's hope to do some stuff. So hopefully in the next couple of years you'll be able to try that out.
In the last couple of interviews that I've been doing, I know lots of them with cider makers and brewers and winemakers, they're saying up here that they want less alcohol if you're going to infuse it with cannabis. Take the alcohol down and so that it doesn't bang you right between the eyes. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah. There's no need to just make people incapacitated. We want a lovely experience, and mainly what we were going for in our wine was that you wouldn't, where most people might have to drink 2 or 3 glasses of wine to feel that release at night. You could get this in 1 glass, and it's kind of a little healthier approach to wine.
By the way, I meant to ask you, did you ever busk in the beginning?
Yeah. I went down to. When I was in Boston, when I went to Berklee College of Music, and
right.
I had a job as a security guard, and I wasn't very happy at a hospital. And so I took my guitar and I went down to the subway station and I opened up the case and I played for an hour and I made $7, and that's what I was making as a security guard. So I said, hey, I can do this, and did that for a little bit, and then decided to get a real job at a real singing job at a restaurant, and I didn't have to do it after that.
Who was your first?
I've done that before.
Melissa, who was your first favorite country artist?
Oh, favorite, probably Tammy Wynette.
Wow. How about your first rock and roll band?
I'm thinking, the Beatles.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the first one that just thrilled me.
Favorite female singer back then, early days?
Hmm. Huh.
Can I suggest?
Early days, like 60s.
Yeah, I'm thinking Janice.
Yeah, she didn't become my favorite until I grew up. I didn't quite get her when I was young.
Okay.
But Linda Ronstadt, I would say Linda Ronstadt.
Okay. I know that one of your favorite writers, songwriters, singer-songwriters, and storytellers was Bruce Springsteen. I know that for a fact. And you got a chance to
absolutely, yes, that is a fact. Yes.
And you got a chance to sing with him. What was that moment like for you?
Oh, it's one of those, dream come true alert, dream come true. Here it is. Can I stop time? Can I just hold this moment? And you know, what I really love is YouTube just keeps that thing going on and on and on. And so I can go visit it whenever I want to remember.
Did you see his stage play in New York, or his musical in New York City? And would you do the same?
I did not get there. I was touring and I missed it, and I'm hoping to catch it on film.
Does that interest you at all, to just be that one person on stage telling stories between the...
Well, I've done that before in my... I've done that a couple times in my solo.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some solo tours, and it's sure, but I don't do it for long because I really miss the camaraderie, the collaboration of playing with other musicians.
Can I come full circle here? When will we see the end of cancer, do you think? In our lifetime?
I think when we understand what cancer is. I think when we understand that cancer comes from inside of us, all my doctors said, cancer starts when cells go bad. And then they would go on and tell me numbers and formulas and things. And I kept going, well, what makes cells go bad? And I finally, after digging deep enough, found out that cells go bad because our bodies are too acidic.
Mm-hmm.
So when we understand that we have some control over this, we have, there are, people, lifestyle choices that can make this journey easier and more healthy. When we kind of grasp that and don't take it as shame or blame, then we can see cancer really change.
Last question for you. And it's the big one. It is the big one. And that is, there is so much great news coming out each and every day about what women are doing, especially in the United States, but all over the world. Their stories are being told. They're coming forward. I mean, look at the whole run to the presidential race. There's women's voices are all of a sudden, they're getting the respect that they deserved for all of those years. And you were right in the middle of it. How do you feel about all of that now?
Oh, I've been doing this for a long time.
I know.
And I really love seeing, people finally being comfortable with it. I think that I've had a lot of fans for a long time, and people never quite knew where to put me, what category or how to hold it. And I think that it's easier now. It's easier now to fit into people's lives. And I think it's amazing. I think it's great. I think it's good for us and, humankind.
I haven't talked about Wild and Lonely.
Wild and Lonely, that's a Melissa Etheridge song. That's just a song about a moment. It's about being on the road. It's about just being with yourself for a moment and just kind of just feeling all those crazy emotions that we do as human beings, all those wild horses inside of ourselves and wherever they lead us, and just that moment of, don't you want to just, and just taking that moment and bottling it and making a song out of it.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Let's not wait 25 years, okay?
Okay, I like that. Let's talk again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
It had been 25 years or so since Melissa Etheridge and I had had a conversation backstage at Woodstock 2, but I intend to stay in touch with her. My thanks to the team behind Melissa, her management, her label, and herself. All right. Next week on Mulligan's 2 podcast, Jen Grant. Here's an amazing singer-songwriter from the Maritimes. Halfway through recording her latest album, Jen discovered that she was pregnant. And I couldn't wait to ask her about how it affected the songs going forward. And even now, as she's touring on the road with that baby, how it's changed her life. A conversation with Jen Grant next week on the podcast. And June the 15th, the day after he releases his new album called Oklahoma, our guest will be Keb Mo. Thank you for subscribing to Mulligan Stew Podcast through Spotify, Google Play, or Apple Podcasts. Cheers.